Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is the beginning of April and about a year since I first got diagnosed with autism. So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about everything that's been happening since then. I feel like there's been a lot of changes, both big and small in my life, and so I thought it would be a good idea to share them with you guys. So the biggest change I think that I've seen since my diagnosis is that I'm finally out of autistic burnout. Okay, when I was going through my diagnosis sessions, the doctor had mentioned that I think you are in burnout because I was talking about having really bad sensory sensitivity and just being emotional all the time and like not being able to cope. And at first, I didn't think that sounded right because it had felt similar to what I've experienced like my whole life and it didn't seem that much different. But as time went on and as I finished the diagnosis sessions and got diagnosed, I definitely realized that she was right. And I definitely was in deep depression, or, and I was definitely in deep autistic burnout. Um, and that I thought lasted about 3 or 6 months. Um, but looking back now that I know that I'm like totally out of autistic burnout, I realized that it was more like 18 months or more that I had been experiencing this. I had just been shoving everything down as best I could to stay afloat for so long that I didn't notice that what was going on in my life. I usually go through seasonal depression in January and February, but the last couple years it started really early in October, November, and didn't let up until February, March. Um, and so that's what I thought I had been experiencing, but looking back now, I can definitely see that it was definitely a combination of autistic burnout, depression, anxiety, all those things. And I guess the telltale sign for me is once that I just kind of like let myself go fully into burnout, I was experiencing things I've never experienced before, including like complete brain fog. I just forgot everything. I'd go to the grocery store and forget my wallet at home. I drove back to get it, went back, left it again, had to go back a second time. It took like 3 times to get my wallet just to pay for groceries. And that happened multiple times in different scenarios where I was so forgetful when I am usually like very um I usually have like the best memory out of most people I know. The other thing that was different from like seasonal depression and burnout is that I really struggled with ways of communicating. I just like shut down, especially going to like grocery stores or the bank and just having like a very surface level conversation. I couldn't do it. I just could not form words. Um, and the other thing that really, like I said, I had like severe sensitivity issues that just ramped up to like on a scale of 1 to 10, they were 11 or 12, just things I had not experienced that intensely before. Um, and just like having sensitivities to food and not being able to eat a lot of things, like needing to rely on comfort foods, being tired all the time. Um, yeah, it was a lot more than I expected. I would also get panic attacks in the middle of like nowhere when I was feeling pretty good and thought that like the burnout was lifting. Um, we would go on walks in the forest, which is usually really calming and peaceful for me, and I would just like keel over with an anxiety attack, like feeling like everything was rushing in at me. So um, that was that was an interesting experience. I have not felt anything that intense before. Um, and like I said, I thought it was only like 3 to 6 months that it lasted, but really it started like I want to say October, November of 2023 and lasted probably until this January, February. So that's a good 18 months, 2 years. Um, and I know that it's finally over because I finally have my old energy back. I'm not tired all the time. I don't get that brain fog. I'm still a little forgetful, but not like I was. I can eat pretty much whatever again. And the anxiety doesn't come out of nowhere. I've actually been pretty anxiety free lately, which is a first for me. Um, so yeah, that was really intense and probably like the biggest thing I went through. And then along the way, I definitely started to unmask more. I have been so good at masking my autism. I was completely unaware of it until like I started to question if I was autistic or not, and just didn't realize how much forcing myself to mask almost 24 hours a day completely destroyed my mental health, and it just gave me such bad anxiety. And I just was always questioning myself, like, did I say something wrong? Do I smile? Make sure to like get their attention so that they know I'm interested. And it was just like a constant, like, I always had a constant worry of um, making sure I looked the part of being a happy, perky person. Um, but since my diagnosis, I've dialed that way back. I don't smile unless I mean it. I don't engage in small talk if I'm not interested. I just stopped doing a lot of habits that I just didn't know how harmful they were to me and how much energy it took for me to do those things. And I think that is a contributor to why I'm not so anxious anymore, is I'm not trying to please everyone. I don't consider myself a people pleaser, but at the same time, I do want to present an image of myself that is nice, that's polite, that's easy to work with, that um, like that people enjoy being around. But it takes a lot of work and it's really exhausting for me. And I just, especially being in burnout that long time, I just couldn't force myself to do it. So I stopped for the majority of it, and that really helped me. But at the same time, it definitely had some consequences, like losing some friends that I didn't expect. I like I've never had a lot of friends, and it's always been like few and far between our conversations and visits with each other, and I always just assume that was because we didn't live close by or like we have busy lives. But as I have unmasked and gone through this journey, um, I've realized that a lot of these relationships I have were one sided. And as soon as I stopped reaching out to people to see how they were or if they wanted to hang out and get together, they never responded and never asked me how I was doing or like if I wanted to get together with them, um, which definitely hurts. There's a few of those relationships that I still do really care about, and so I will be sad if they fall away. But at the same time, now that I recognize this, I don't want to be the only person reaching out all the time. I want it to be um, like two ways. I want them to want me there, and so like if they don't make an effort, I myself am not going to make an effort, which has been really hard because I've always been the one who like has remembered everyone's birthday, um, or like big events in their life. Like I always want to be the one to like congratulate them or wish them a happy birthday. But I've noticed that a lot of these people don't do the same with me, and I don't want to keep being the one who reaches out. So I've just completely stopped, and I've noticed that it stopped coming towards my direction too. Like I was the only one keeping these friendships alive. The other area where unmasking has really like been challenging for me is at work. I have noticed people definitely treat me different. Only a few bosses know about my diagnosis, but like I feel like definitely things have changed and not for the better at work. Um, and I definitely lost what I thought was a close friend after unmasking, and this was like the only person at work that wasn't one of my supervisors that I told about the diagnosis. And it just kind of like, I don't know, it blew up in my face, I guess. And then, so to get through burnout and just like kind of figure out how I wanted my life to look and to get rid of all of the anxiety that I felt on my life, I definitely have taken a lot off my plate. I reduced my hours at work. I still work 30 hours a week, and I was given an option to work 2 days from home a week if I need it. Um, but even with that, work is still the singular most difficult thing in my life right now because it's so, it is not autistic friendly. Just, it's too bright, too many loud voices, there's too many smells that make me physically sick and I have to go home, or I just sit there and get a migraine and kidney pains, other issues going on that I just, it's really hard. Um, but yeah, I took a lot off of my plate, including reducing my hours at work. I also gave up my really, I had a successful side business selling holiday ornaments and like, and custom keepsakes, but it took up so much of my time and I got obsessed with it that I really didn't have any personal time or like balanced time. It was just like I was working and then I'd come home and work on this project, and I had hoped that it would do well enough that it could be like my full-time income, but every time I crunched the numbers, even if I got successful enough to do this side business, because it was so um, handmade and custom where I made every single piece, I could not work enough to like get the income I needed to make it full time as a hobby artist. So I made the decision to close my shop and sell off the remaining inventory I had. I also had to like start saying no to a lot of things, which I was already really good at anyways, but like just, you know, if I felt anxious about anything, I would just like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I need to stay home. I became more, I, I self advocated a lot more for my needs, even if people didn't understand that. And just like towards family obligations or little get togethers or like um, with friends and neighbors, I had to like stop and focus on myself for a long time. Um, And then if you've watched this channel for a while now, you definitely know that you'll probably know that I've definitely been on a cleaning and decluttering kick, especially before we moved to this place, because that was the goal, is to declutter enough that we could move into a more affordable place and a smaller place so that there's not much upkeep. So I definitely had to like scale down on cleaning and all of the like home activities that I normally enjoy, like gardening or decorating. I just had to like shut those down. Really, the only hobby that I have been doing this past year is working on this channel and then reading. Those have been my two outlets because those have brought me a lot of joy. Now that we are in this new place, we definitely, I think we got rid of like 60-70% of our stuff, which took a really long time to declutter, but I'm really glad I did because it feels so much nicer not to have um, like all these task lists of things I need to clean and get rid of in the back of my mind, or rooms to straighten. It's seriously a breeze living here. I think we spend maybe, I mean, besides doing dishes and like making food, we'll spend like 10 minutes at night and 10 minutes in the morning putting the house away, like folding blankets, making the bed, and just like straightening the living room and kitchen, and that's it. I mean, and then we'll have like deep cleans maybe once a month of like the bathrooms and kitchen and stuff. But it's so much less work than it was, and it feels so much better. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how much anxiety that stuff gave me. I had no idea until I started this journey, and now that I'm on the other side of it, it feels amazing. Like that anxiety is almost gone. Like I'm still an anxious person with unknown situations and stuff, but as far as like clutter and our house feeling like put together and like it's just so much better. One of the positives of this year and my diagnosis is that one of my friends that I still talk to on a semi regular basis, I was telling her about my diagnosis, and she said, I've actually kind of wondered if I'm also autistic. Um, and so I gave her the self diagnosis stuff that I used before I got my um, professional diagnosis. And so she took all the online quizzes, and she scored even like higher on the tests than I did, which was like a good indicator that she probably was autistic. So she ended up um, also getting diagnosed maybe a month or two after me. So she and I decided to start a book club at the end of last year focused on books that relating to neurodiversity and autism, because we've both made it a special interest of ours to learn everything we can about it, especially for like late diagnosis and like just learning about other people's journeys. So that's been really good. We've had 2 meetups. Now that it's warm out, I think we're gonna start like taking walks and being outdoors more, because we're both pretty outdoorsy and like nature. We both really like critters and snakes and things. So it's been really fun to like compare our childhood experiences and just like I feel like her and I have been on a lot of journeys together, and this is just like the next chapter, and it's really fun getting to know ourselves and each other, um, and kind of comparing like our experiences, because some things like we both have experienced, and other things it's like we're total opposites. So, and we've always kind of been that way, but now it makes more sense as to why. Positive for the year is that I'm showing up for myself in a more authentic way by unmasking and just discovering who I am, like what my true personality is. I'm still discovering what my authentic self is, but I feel like I like myself more. I used to feel that I would give answers or explanations based on what I thought the other person would want to hear, and I feel like I can trust my opinions more, and I think that's it, is that I couldn't trust my thoughts sometimes. Like I didn't know if I was saying that because I truly believed it or because I thought someone else wanted to hear it. But now I can catch myself and go, hold on, that's not quite how I'm feeling. Let's not jump on their bandwagon right away. I I'm not trying so hard. I'm not trying to be like, I feel like everyone probably has a role that they fill in their families, um, or like friend groups or at work or anything, and I'm trying really hard not to fill whatever my like past role has been for the sake of filling it. I'm just really trying to be just myself, um, and if people are cool with that, that's awesome, and if not, that's fine. And it's a small change. Like I feel like I've always been this person, but I feel like it's more so now. Right now I feel like I'm kind of stuck. Like I don't know. I just feel like I I'm in this state of inertia that I just like can't get out of. Like um I have long-term goals. Like I definitely want to grow this channel. This has been really fun. Has been a really fun outlet for me, and I enjoy sharing my experience with you guys, hoping that some of these things relate to you, and hopefully you will feel less alone like I did when I first entered this community and just started like finding all these content creators who like I had no idea people experience the same thing as me. and like random things. So hopefully you guys continue to enjoy this content. But yeah, I have some really long-term goals that I want to achieve. I just don't know how to start them quite yet, and it's like, so I feel kind of stuck both professionally but also personally. Like normally this time of year we're getting ready to start hiking and camping and doing all these like outdoor activities. But with Charlotte's health condition, she's doing pretty well still, but she's definitely older and like definitely slowing down. We can't really go on hikes and camping trips as much as we used to. Like we really have to make sure that she's feeling okay and that we're not overdoing it with her. So we've really had to scale back what we've been doing, which is totally fine. Like I don't mind doing that at all. It's just been really hard coming up with ideas of doing things close by that will be interesting for us. And so really the only place we've gone to is the Oregon coast, which I shared in I think a couple videos ago, and that was really fun, but we don't have anything else planned for the year. And so I'm just feeling like like it's so up in the air that I really don't have like a direction or like any goals. So I'm really struggling with that. And I did write some ideas down. I just need to like book some camping sites, I guess. It's just hard to plan with her. Um, and I think it's mostly the cold weather, like because it's Oregon, it can turn cold in an instant, even in the summer. So I'm just not quite sure what we want to do. But I think we just need to sit down and book some things, and then that'll make me feel like we have something to look forward to. Because right now I'm just kind of feeling a little bit blah about the rest of the year, and I'm not really sure why. Because like we're going into spring and summer, so we should have plenty of nice weather and plenty of things to look forward to. Um, yeah, so and I'm also feeling stuck because I just don't like, I have all these good ideas that I want to share on this channel. It's just I'm having a really hard time sitting down and actually filming anything, especially like these sit down videos where I just talk and like that's all we do. Those are okay. Like I can that doesn't take much energy, but the ones that are more dynamic and like um lively, where we actually go do things for the weekend or I take you along cleaning or whatever I'm doing, like those take a lot more energy. And even though I have good ideas, I don't know how to formulate them into like a story for the week. So I'm really struggling with that. So if any of you have any ideas that you'd like to see from this channel, I'd love your input, because I'm kind of, even though I have some thoughts, I just don't know how to articulate them. And I would love to know like what you guys want to see. If you want to see like more day-to-day stuff, like how I live my life as an autistic person, or like specific things like this video where it's like um I talked about my experience unmasking. Would you like to see a whole video on that, or a whole video on being in burnout and getting out of that? Like, if you have any ideas, I'd love to know, because I'm stuck. So yeah, I have a couple things coming up. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, I'd love your input. I really appreciate you all being here. And yeah, I guess I will see you all next week. Take care.